Hello everyone, and today we are going to play as the Unionist in the American Civil War. I'm going to jump ahead. I'm not going to explain to you that you need to pick Biden and do all of the focuses. We will go jump ahead to this event here when it asks you to join one of the faction. Of course, we choose here the Unionist. This timer has started. We have to make this time go as long as possible so we can do all of the focuses as the Unionist, because all of those focuses will give you a lot of good things when the Civil War will start. We do all of those focuses and we do actually manage to get all of them, which is not easy, to be honest. You have to constantly click the decisions to make the time go longer, and after that has happened we take the executive order, and this of course starts the Civil War without the death of Wall Street, of course. Now we start here. We have a lot of divisions and we are the legitimate government of the United States, which means that we are going to get a lot of volunteers from the European powers too. Now our task number one is to defeat the constitutionalist government with the head of Trump. After defeating them, everything becomes 1,000,000 times easier. So for first we will focus on Minnesota and also do those focuses. We will go full on the military focuses. We will not do political focuses until we defeat the constitutionalist government. After that has happened, we could just go ahead and actually do some political focuses and economic focuses. But for now we focus on the Trumpists and defeating them as fast as possible. We make two main armies. One is only infantry and one is motorized divisions. Infantry will of course cover all of the front lines, but the motorized part of our army will constantly move in the front lines. In the first part of our operation to defeat constitutionalist government, we are going to station our mechanized troops in Chicago to get Minnesota as fast as possible, because we are going to get good buffs if we do it, because we have here ongoing operation which was set up by Biden and the High Command of Military. And we also don't forget about our Air Force, which is very important in this game. We select all of our Air Force. Of course, our Air Force is better than the constitutionalist government, which is giving us a lot of buffs. And before starting, the final thing we are going to do is to buy some oil from other nations. Why we do this? Because we have half of our military mechanized and also the airframes need some oil. And now, after a few days, the Civil War starts here. We make the speed on third so we can focus on our front lines, and we start pushing our enemies. Our first goal is to take out Minnesota, and we make some National Guard divisions because we have kinda lack of them, because infantry is going to cover all of the front lines and we really do not have them. And also considering that Trump will uprise later on in the middle of our country, that's bad. So yeah, that's why we do it. As you see here, our troops are doing very good here. Our mechanized divisions push towards Minneapolis, and as you see here, Biden goes on with speech and we make a huge encirclement of motorized divisions of the enemy in the north of Chicago, which does make the front line easier to break. Now our forces are concentrating on making even more encirclements. We are doing pretty well here. We make another two encirclements in the north of Chicago, and we also make another one here. It doesn't really have too much troops there, but it doesn't matter, whatever. And our troops have entered Minneapolis. Here Trump's divisions are really stacked up and they are not attacking, which is great. So yeah, I guess we are going to abuse that. And our divisions are slowly closing the encirclements that we have there. And here I just noticed that Trump has already uprising, which is not great. But as you remember, we have few divisions that can deploy few days later, and also we can just assign few normal divisions that we already had. We will assign 9 divisions from our normal troops and also few divisions of the National Guard there, and that should do the job. Meanwhile, we do another encirclement here in Minneapolis, and we go ahead to make another one and another one. Here I have decided to make the biggest encirclement from the start of our war. As you see here, a lot of Trump's divisions are just concentrated on this front line, and I just really wanted to close that. But as you see here, Trumpists don't really let me do it, and also because of that, yeah, they just managed to relocate half of their divisions here, but we still get few divisions in the encirclements, which is still good. And we also close St. Louis into another big encirclement. Here we close close to 7 divisions maybe. Those are militas, but we are still good there. We get some fleet of Republicans, we accept them to our Congress, it's not a big deal for us. And we have also closed up the Trump's uprisings in the middle of our country, which means that our divisions can should go ahead and focus on Trump a little bit more. As you see here, St. Louis was close too, and we have managed to get Oklahoma City and get a big huge state into encirclement. Well, as of now, Trump is very weak. They are at the weakest point. We have already destroyed very much all of the Trump's divisions that are capable to do anything. They have lost close to 100,000 if I'm not wrong, or maybe even more, and we have just lost like 1 or 2k, which is just crazy ratio. It's 1 to 100 or something. I really hope I'm right here. And we also, by the way, close another encirclement right there, and another one here in Denver, and our troops are very close to capturing Denver, and we of course do it. Now here I got some kind of, you know, a greedy stuff. I wanted to make as much encirclements as possible of Trump. I don't know why I wanted to do that. I could just focus on the main cities and capture them and capitulate them as fast as possible, but I got so involved in this shit that I was just making encirclements one after another. And well, after closing this another big one, we defeat the Trumpists, and we defeat them relatively very fast. It's only July of 2022 and we have already defeated them, which is great. As a reminder to you, and you know, something that you can compare it to, Atomwaffen has not defeated Florida yet, National Socialists have not won in Detroit yet, and also the Patriotic Front has not won in New York yet, and the Texas, and even the Liberation Army. This means that we are way ahead of our schedule, so we are going to cancel our focus and end the traders. Then we are going to go ahead with neutrality is complicity, and then crush the rebels. Those three focuses will unlock for us all of the decisions to attack all of our neighbors, which I really want to do, to unify America as fast as possible. Well, as of now, our first target will be the New York Police Department. Of course, Patriotic Front is already fighting with them, but I guess I had the chances here. So we start a war. Patriotic Front is taking New York at the first, but then something happens and something changes, and we take out all of New York back to our hands, and now the other target will be the League of South. Our divisions enter the League of South very fast. They don't see any kind of opposition here from them, and we also send ultimatum to Texas to join us, and they join us, which also adds us to the Texan wars. We send few divisions to help our Texas friends, but mainly we focus on the League of South as of now. Here in Texas we do a very good job, and also while doing all those two front wars, we are now focusing our main army, the mechanized ones, on the front lines with the National Socialist movement, and after a few days negotiations they refused and we declared war on them. And as you see here, we drive through Detroit, we just don't feel the opposition, and after a few days they capitulate to us. That was very great. And meanwhile we also declare war on the Army of God, if I'm not wrong, and also the KKK. And how we do this, how we declare war on two nations at the same time, we just send ultimatum to the federal command, they accept, and we of course join all of their wars. Now Texas here is almost done, and also KKK and the Army of God is also done. We have defeated the Texan communists, and the only one left for now is some small faction in Texas and also the League of South, which after a few days capitulates. Now we have gained full support of Alabama, and also here another state which I don't really remember the name of. Here we send ultimatum to the New York department, they accept it, which adds us to war against the Patriots and also the other guys that are participating in the New York Civil War. And to be honest with you, one of the toughest wars we had here is with the Patriotics, so I just moved all of my airframes here, which made our job 1,000,000 times easier. Meanwhile, we have declared war on Birmingham's army, and we have also meantime sent some more ultimatums to New Mexico and Mississippi, all of them basically. And here as you see, we defeat them, we defeat the enemies of New Mexico, and also we are very close to defeating the Birmingham's army. Now our target might be Atomwaffen division. We have to send our ultimatums, but we decide here to send our ultimatum to Federal Air Command. They accept it, which adds us into war with the Western Military Administration and Folkish Resistance Movement, which is not really, you know, hard thing, but I guess we do have little struggle here because of the terrain, but it is just a, you know, temporary struggle for a long time gain. Here state of Florida also accepts our demands, which adds us into war against the Atomwaffen. often. As you see here, our mechanized troops just rush and don't even feel them. And well, there is only two major guys left here. One is Cascadia and another one is the Americans' Liberation Army, which is very easy to defeat, to be honest with you. So we just go ahead and attack them very fast. They didn't even manage to react to this because they have already prepared to attack Cascadia, but at last moment we have just attacked them. They just didn't have the opportunity to attack us because we had more intelligence than they did. And after a lot of fights here, because of the, of course, Chinese support, we take Los Angeles, we take San Francisco, which marks the end of war against the America's People Liberation Army. And now the only guy left here is Cascadia. All of their divisions were on the front line with those Aryan nationalist guys, which we use, of course, to our advantage, and we make an encirclement of all of their military, almost all of them. So rest of our military just, you know, walks through their nation. And yep, after this is done in June 13 of 2023, we reunify the America, which gives us this beautiful event here, as you see. And yeah, now it's time for us to reconstruct our government and also core all of the territories. Meanwhile, we take a lot of other focuses to get to the focuses of the end of the Civil War, because we did it too fast. We did it super fast, which didn't really give the game time. So, well, basically we are too ahead of our time, so we need to rush to the back in business focus to then start our reconstruction campaign of America. As of now, we do have some troubles with Biden's health and also upcoming elections, but we choose for now to go ahead, appeal to UN and do some more decisions regarding that. India and Pakistan got nuked, by the way, and we have managed to get to back in the business. Now we are going to take the giant wakes and American diplomatic corps. Meanwhile, we were taking all of that. Surprisingly, for every single one, every single American, after all of the great things Biden has done, Mitt Romney wins the new elections of 2025. Meanwhile, we secure the South, and we have managed to core all of the territories of the United States of America. Now we are fully prepared for the full American Reconstruction. Our forces have successfully managed to defeat the Mexican faction, which means that we can focus on the Canada now. Canada is more important than Mexico, by the way, so we focus all of our troops there, but this is probably too much troops for Canada. As you see here, our divisions or tanks were very fast. We of course take Ottawa, the capital of Canada, in the first days of war, and after a few encirclements and taking few more important cities, Canada capitulates, which makes us start our other campaign to attack the Federal Republic of Central America. We go ahead and attack them very well, but at some point Russian volunteers arrive. This was very strange to us, but we still managed to push to Panama Canal. But at some point, again, 8 Russian tank divisions have arrived here, which made our job very hard. So we decide to move all of our Air Force here to help us, and as you would have guessed, yeah, Air Force does change a lot of things here. Because of the support of our Air Force, we managed to successfully do what we did. And here in August of 26, we get news that Ukraine has been attacked by Russia. Our administration makes a decision to send all of our 13 veteran infantry brigades to help Ukrainian friends, and after a few days our brigades arrive. Our first goal is to free Moldova, which we do very successfully, and now our forces focus on, well, keeping Ukraine alive. We do end up in success there because Ukraine manages to push even to Crimea, which is very great, and after a few months of suffering of the Ukrainian, our government has negotiated with Europeans to join the war against Russia to defeat them once and all, and our European friends joined the war. Meanwhile, our troops were stationed in around Kiev. We make a little bit of counter-offensive in Kiev. We managed to take back central Ukraine, few parts of it, but we get news that Donetsk region is under attack by the massive forces of Russia. We go ahead and help our Ukrainian friends to defend there too, and meanwhile we were doing that, our friends in NATO have managed to get all of the Caucasian region of the Soviet Republic of Russia, which was very brave decision from them to make, and they have also taken almost all of the important points there, which also meant that Russia was very close to collapse. And here we get the news that no one has expected to get. Leningrad falls under the pressure of the European guys. Greek tanks have managed to take Leningrad, and after that has happened, Russians came to the peace agreement with the Europeans, and well, peace has been made. And NATO was victorious in Europe, so we started producing even more equipment, even more stuff. We had a lot of military factories, we were constructing a lot of military factories, the refineries, offices, all of that was being constructed in United States of America. And now this was a long time for us to reset and regain our peace and strength. We had a lot of great technologies. Meanwhile, a very old man has gained control in Russia, and this was not very great, you know. We felt something was not great, but we just couldn't tell what. Meanwhile, we were doing our focuses and were controlling the situation in the European front lines and the new Russian government. Bernie Sanders has managed to win the 2028 elections, which has changed our political focus tree, which is great, which means that we can, you know, do another focuses. We have reached the peak of our civilization. We have reached the peak of all levels of development. And also, a funny thing here, after doing this aerial focus, we gain airport in every single state that we control as of now, which is quite fun. It's just free airports. Of course, we do not really have use for them, but yeah, it's still fun. Meanwhile, we were doing our duty of reconstructing America, and after taking the forgotten farmlands focus, we have officially reconstructed our nation. And now our decision was either to isolate ourselves, join the Pacific Pact with Japan, or join the NATO Pact with our European guys. I guess you got it, who we are going to support here. And after negotiations, backdoor negotiations with the United Kingdom, we successfully joined NATO. We joined NATO back, and we are back in global stage. Meanwhile, Russians have started their offensives in Caucasia. Nobody was really paying attention to that, besides us, of course, besides us. Meanwhile, we were doing our focuses, and our friends in Europe have decided that attacking Iran would be a cool decision. We of course don't join the endless wars against Iran. We instead reconstruct all of our military and templates for our military, as you see here. And meanwhile that was happening, the Russians were very aggressively expanding in Central Asia and Caucasus. This raised some eyebrows, but we still wouldn't dare to, you know, start it first. And now in November of 31, the great European war starts. Iran joins Russia in their war, and we also ask our friends in Europe to, you know, invite us to war. But they didn't invite us to war, so I started justifying against Russians. But even before me doing it, we get this new focus tree here to start our third Gulf War, which is crazy thing actually. And because of that, we have moved all of our mechanized divisions to the front lines with Iran. As you see here, we do it very greatly here. We attack them, but in the moment that we never expected, the Russians attack us too. And well, as you would have guessed, we didn't have any divisions in the front lines of the Europe. And also, yeah, our infantry divisions were good, but they just weren't enough. So our tank divisions start pushing in Iran, and they succeed actually because of our air dominance there. And Russians also join the war against us, which unlocks for us new focuses. Now we are concentrating our forces in Iran to defeat them first, then focus on the Russians, because Iran meant a lot of oil, which we really need. As you see here in this small time lapse, we just completely humiliate Iran after getting some supply hubs there. Then our military command has think about new offensive in Baltics, and also our mechanized divisions were still pushing in Central Asia. Later on, we have decided to withdraw our divisions from the Central Asia to defend Romania and Poland from possible Russian offensive. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders has declared a massive mobilization of our troops. More than 150 divisions have been mobilized. Those are the elite Biden divisions, which have 200 attack or more. Our divisions have succeeded in Baltics, and we are now holding up almost all of the Baltics, without Tallinn, of course, the capital of Estonia. Meanwhile, we get some encirclements here, and there has been decision made that our mechanized divisions should go to Belarus to try to counterattack in Belarusian front, because we had air dominance there. And also, besides that, we have now started mobilizing 126 mechanized latest advanced technology units. Those divisions have more than 400 attack and are definitely better than Russians. They're battleground tested troops. those will be out in close 30 or 40 days. Meanwhile, we select our infantry divisions that we have just produced and we send them all to the front lines with Europe. As of now, our goal is to hold the Russian offensive. Meanwhile, our divisions are now succeeding in their offensive in Belarus. They are doing a very great job pushing towards the front lines, and also our allies in Europe are also helping us in that beautiful deal there. That was a very smart decision from our allies because they have a lot of mechanized divisions too. Of course, the European mechanized divisions are not as good as ours or the Russian tank divisions, but they can still provide us some help that we wouldn't get in any other way. Meanwhile, we are thinking about making a big encirclement here, maybe the biggest encirclement that we will have in this war, which will of course determine the course of war. Meanwhile, the Russians do a counteroffensive in Baltics and few of our brave divisions into encirclement. Meanwhile, we have just released the new generation, the new advanced division type, and they are on their way to Europe. It is predicted that those divisions will successfully take out Ukraine and later on all of Russia. We send all of our air force to Ukraine and we start our offensive. In the first days, our offensive is total success. Totally successful offensive which locks up more than 50 Russian motorized and tank divisions, and also because of that the Ukrainian fronts of Russian have been very badly damaged. So much that the Russian alternative of Ukraine has just capitulated in front of your eyes. But a very bad news has gotten to Washington. We got almost all of our mechanized divisions into encirclement in Rostov. Now the task was to hold off as much as possible until our divisions will arrive. Bernie Sanders was very busy because of the big encirclement. Despite elections upcoming, he spent all of his days to thinking about our troops and how to rescue them, and of course his thinking helped us. All of our European divisions that have relocated before the offensive are now coming back to free up encircled divisions. Meanwhile, we get a new president. Kennedy Jr. has been elected the new president of United States as Democrat, but that doesn't really change the course of war. We are still going to defeat the Russian terrorists. And as you see here, we have successfully opened up the encirclement back. Now our troops are ordered to fall back from Rostov to not get into another encirclement again and to focus on Moscow and Leningrad, the biggest two cities as of now that we can right now take, of course. The rest of the cities were highly defended by the Russians. As you see here, after Russians get the news, they bomb Berlin with an atomic bomb, but we do not respond to that. Our military high command has decided to not respond and not escalate the conflict. We think that we can achieve victory even without using our nuclear arsenal. Meanwhile, here we make another big encirclement in the Baltics, which gives us a lot of supplies, so our troops manage to get to Leningrad and take Leningrad the second time in this war. Now we have also closed up more than 30 divisions in the Baltics, and we have also closed few divisions in Leningrad. Meanwhile, our divisions were closing up to Murmansk. It has already been captured by the reports of our military men, and here we focus all of our might to take out Moscow. It doesn't really work out at the first, so our troops decide to make another big huge encirclement here in Russia because all of their forces concentrated in the central parts. So after closing all of that, they didn't really have enough troops to control Urals too, which made for us very easy to break through their lines. And after taking Moscow, they have released another nuclear weapon to Moscow, which has killed millions of people, millions of troops, of American lives. This could not be tolerated, so our military command has decided to decisively cut off Russians in half. This was the end and everyone has understood it. And after a few days in December of 2033, NATO crushes Eurasia. It's the end of history. And we get this beautiful event, and this concludes our third Gulf War and also the second European War with the American victory in the both of them. This was it. I thank you for watching this video, and if you want more of TFR videos, please talk about it in comments. I will see you in the next video, and God bless America.